All right, we ready to begin? I'm going to call to order this work session for March 2nd, 2022, and we have one item, Mr. Myers, ordinance 2022-04.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here. For the work session, I'm just going to be sharing the packet that you should have received. And then for the formal session, I will be, excuse me, I'll be presenting a more formalized PowerPoint and go through more detail in that respect. So we'll just kind of go through this one. If you have any questions off the bat, let me know and we can get things figured out for the formal session. So this is the 440 East Sample Road rezone. It's a rezone request from Agricultural Rural Reserve to General Business. It's a 1.647 acre site, and it's in Washington Township, Section 34. So the purposes of this rezone is that the petitioner is seeking to establish a Dollar General on the site. From Planning Department review and the issuance of a use determination, it was determined that this specific type of Dollar General that was described would be classified as a grocery store. And the only district that permits grocery store is the general business zoning district. So this obviously went through multiple committee meetings. So to the PRC to be reviewed through the comp plan. And then it went through the Plan Commission, which received multiple meetings. The PRC initially reviewed this and decided to forward it with a negative recommendation, stating that it didn't follow along with the comprehensive plan for the area. And then the Plan Commission, after several meetings on this petition, eventually voted to forward this with a positive recommendation of 5-3. And there were some commitments, or excuse me, some conditions of approval that were attached to that recommendation as well. So I'm going to go through some of the brief details here of this petition. So here it is on East Sample Road. As you'll note, its proximity to I-69 and the newly established interchanges and off ramps here. Currently, as I stated before, it's zoned Agricultural Rural Reserve. There is some limited business to the west of the property. A good portion of these parcels, however, have been taken by the I-69 corridor. So this one where my cursor is right now, that one was taken by the state, and maybe a few others of these ones in here. But there is some commercial activity in the area, or at least close by. Site conditions. Currently the site contains an approximate, actually, I don't believe that is there anymore, but there used to be a manufactured home on the property and a utility shed. The petition site is currently serviced by a septic system and access to East Sample Road, which is designated as a major collector roadway. There's no floodplain, and there's no evidence of karst features at this time. The proposal for the Dollar General is essentially a 10,000 plus square foot structure that will be providing a wide range of items to the public. So it classifies as a grocery store under the use determination through Planning Department review, as I stated before. We do have some stormwater comments and highway department comments here as well. But those would pertain to the commercial site plan. That would be the next step if the rezone were to be approved. A lot of these items would be covered in that review so that we would make sure all the requirements of the commercial site plan would be covered. Slope on the property, pretty much non-existent. This is one of the older aerial images that shows where the mobile home was. And here we have some a little bit more updated. I think these are from 2020. Just going through a couple of these, and we have some on the ground photos as well of this petition site. You'll note that the road improvements kind of taper off right at the end of the property. There was a lot of conversation about that in the Plan Commission meetings, kind of stating that the road improvements and widening of the road is here already. I think that led to some of the more positive recommendations from Plan Commission members, is that it seemed that at least the road infrastructure was present for some commercial activity. These are just some photographs on the ground from street view. The comprehensive plan has it designated as rural residential. So again, the PRC, the Plan Review Committee, had initially stated this, or had decided that it would be a negative recommendation to the Plan Commission based on the comprehensive plan designation of rural residential. And we can come back to that if you have any questions regarding the comprehensive plan. Here we have the petitioner's letter, basically stating that they are looking to construct a Dollar General that will be 10,640 square feet. And then here we have a preliminary site plan. Again, they're not held to this. This is kind of just for reference purposes. This is the type of thing that we would review administratively for the commercial site plan requirements. And I have it zoomed in a little bit here as well. So you can see the structure here and an adequate amount of parking, lighting, landscaping, design standards, all that sort of stuff that will all be covered in the commercial site plan review for this petition if it were to be rezoned. I've also have some exhibits down here that I can also include in the presentation for the formal session that just has some of the permitted uses that are current in the zoning district for Ag-RR, as well as what would be technically permitted in the general business zoning district if they were to rezone. So a lot more commercial uses permitted in the general business zoning district, of course. Which brings me to some other items. I'm actually going to skip up to the top here real quick to show you some of the conditions of approval from the Plan Commission. This is a typo here, if you'll note. It should be 5 to 3. I apologize for that. But when the Plan Commission voted to recommend a positive recommendation, they included 2 conditions of approval. The first one being the written commitments as authored by the petitioner and included in the Plan Commission staff report be recorded. And then 2, that a pole sign be prohibited at this location and a monument style sign be selected. So basically in those written commitments that the petitioner has provided, and their exhibit in this report as well, is basically stating that the site will be general business for the purposes only for a grocery store, and that any other respects for use on the property, it would be considered as limited business. And that's one of the things that the Plan Commission members were kind of looking for, some sort of limitation on the broad scale or broad scope of uses that are permitted in the general business zone. And this is this right here, this exhibit in front of you is that written commitments that the petitioner has provided. A few more exhibits I want to touch on before I'll take questions. Exhibit 5, we have just some locations in the county of nearby grocery stores / convenience stores. And this is just a Google search on Google Maps of locations. The location of the petition site is right here where you see Wayport and that blue little icon there. And this was a big conversation in the Plan Commission. I'm kind of figuring out where a good place for a Dollar General would be, if this would be a nice location for that. Kind of looking at whether or not members of the public would have to travel far to get small grocery items or other items that would be sold at this location. This next one here, this is nearby convenience stores / gas stations. So it's a little bit different. You'll see some things like Speedway, pop-up, Marathon Gas, that sort of thing. So just another visual aid to see spatially where convenience stores or that sort of thing can be purchased. And then this final exhibit here is just a list of current and future Dollar General stores that will be operating off of a commercial septic system. During the Planning Commission meetings, there was discussion about this property not having access to sewer and it being such a large structure. So that was definitely something that received a lot of talk and communication about. And this exhibit here was provided by the petitioner in stating that they have multiple locations currently operating on commercial septics for Dollar Generals, and then they have some also slated to be built in 2022. Okay, I think I will now take questions.
Any questions for my colleagues?
You answered the one I had.
Okay.
So the planning department originally recommended against approval because of the lack of the sewer access, right?
That was one of the components. There were a number of components that planning department had recommended a negative recommendation from the planning commission. So yes, that was one of them, just because of the size of the structure.
And in the list of places where they have put these other stores that are on septic systems, do they have the kind of underlying bedrock that, I mean, limestone areas that we have? Because that does impact how well a septic system will work.
Sure. So I can't speak for all of these locations, but we do have a Bedford, Indiana, which I would imagine has a similar soil structure that Monroe County does. But as for the other ones, I could not speak to.
But we don't know how well the septic system in Bedford is doing either, though, right? Or not?
I cannot speak on that. The petitioner might be able to look into that information for the formal session, and we can request that if you'd like.
Okay. Couple of other things. Have we heard anything from the neighbors in that area?
No, there actually has not been any letters submitted to the planning department. And if I can recall, not very many, or if any at all, people have come to the meetings for this area.
Okay. So Elevate Monroe County lists Donald Richardson as the current owner. Is that still correct with Mr. Is it McDonough? I don't know how to say his name.
McDonough, yes.
McDonough. He's the developer, or is he intending to buy this if the rezone goes through, or what's the situation with that?
Yes, so I believe it is a purchase agreement sort of situation. Mr. McDonough is a representative of Dollar General, I believe, that is looking to purchase the property from the current owner and then work through the development stages of this process if it were to receive the rezone.
Okay. Yeah, I acknowledge the fact that that is sort of a food desert up there, but we also don't have, it's not a densely populated area being so close to the Morgan Monroe State Park either. So, yeah. Thank you. There's things I guess I need to scratch my head about with this one. Thank you.
Okay. I believe we have a planning related item coming to our agenda next week with the scrap metal recycling ordinance change. So I'm wondering if that is still going to come to us next week, if you want to wait 2 weeks to bring this back.
Okay, yeah, whatever works for you and the scheduling.
Okay, my colleague's okay with that? All right, 16th would be great.
Okay, March 16th.
All right, okay.
Okay,
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else from any other departments? Let's see any. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn our work session. Thanks, everyone. Please get vaccinated.